Welcome back to my channel, everyone. And today we're going to be discussing my favorite songs from the 1950s. A lot of great songs during the 1950s. It was a decade of a lot of hits. Rock and roll came into the picture. You had some of the pop orchestral type music. So there's a lot of good stuff in the 1950s. So we're going to not waste any time and get right down to it. These are my favorite songs from the 1950s. Now, I'm not going to make a top 20 or anything of that nature. There are about 20 or so songs, but I'm not going to limit it to just 20. A lot of good songs. So we'll go ahead and get started. And I want to start with a song that everybody knows. This song is an earworm, as they say. Some mornings I just wake up and just start humming the song and irritating my daughter and whoever else is around. The song is called Mr. Sandman by the Chordettes. Bum, 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 bum. You know how it goes. Wonderful female harmony group. I could not put this in because I sing it. It just happens, spontaneous. I'll be in the shower. I'll wake up in the morning. I'm driving down the road. It's just one of those songs that gets in your head, unfortunately. But it's a very creative song. And the original gentle innocence of the song was kind of corrupted after I saw Halloween. And so now it's sort of got a darker weirdness to it. It almost makes me think of something maybe David Lynch would use in one of his films. Moving on. Next, I want to talk about the King of Rock and Roll and All Shook Up by Elvis Presley. This is a cool, laid back, sort of jaunty, playful, affectionate song about new love, infatuation, that feeling you get where it's just like, everything's inside is just all chaotic. The eager, optimistic feelings of infatuation. All Shook Up, Elvis Presley. Love that song. Next is going to be Rock and Roll is Here to Stay by Danny and the Juniors. This one's like a jamming up-tempo rock and roll song, sort of a bouncing, driving, swinging dance song. It's ideal for a 50s party anthem. It was featured in the movie Christine, the John Carpenter film. Just a really get up and go song, perfect for the 50s. Next is a very popular song, Tequila by the Champs. It's a well-known 50s instrumental. I consider this to be almost frat rock. Very rousing, very upbeat, got a summertime sort of charm to it. It's good for like a beach party or pool party type song. Next is going to be Quiet Village by Martin Denny. This is another instrumental. It is fantastic instrumentals. I mean, the 50s had some really good instrumentals, and the early 60s as well. This is Exotica Lounge at its finest. I love lounge music. I get made fun of for that, by the way, but I don't care. I like what I like. Eccentric light creates a peculiar sort of atmosphere. Exotica, that sort of sound. It's perfect for like a cocktail party or grill out there in the summer, that kind of background music. The next one is Battle of New Orleans. This is sort of a 1950s country western sort of song, I guess. Classic song. I love the country music of the 1950s and 60s. Not so much. I mean, I do like some 70s and 80s stuff, but pretty much that's it. After that, it goes downhill for me. Don't listen to it anymore. But I love the country music of the 50s when it was still known as country western music. Told a story, captivating stories usually in song form. And this is kind of a goofy, rambunctious song, kind of laid back, kind of cool, a little bit cocky. Battle of New Orleans. Next is Only You by the Platters. This is a well-known one. Classic 50s love ballad on all the hits compilations that you get. This song is very gentle, very plaintive reflection of feeling love and desiring intimacy. This is what I consider to be candlelight music. If it ever existed, this is one of them. 50s had some beautiful love songs. Next is going to be Bye Bye Love by the Everly Brothers. I absolutely adore the Everly Brothers music. I grew up with it. My mother, would sing songs by the Everly Brothers. So they were a big part of my childhood. This is a bright, rousing song with, of course, the Everly Brothers have like a close harmony. Little pop song. And it basically greets heartache with like a wistful, sort of poignant innocence. I like to say, as far as this song, like uncertainty never sounded so wistful, but great song. Next is a song by Thurston Harris and the Sharps. It's called Little Bitty Pretty One, and this was also featured in the John Carpenter film Christine. This one is a lively, freewheeling little party tune, kind of fast-paced, exuberant sort of love song. It's perfectly upbeat for dance party as well. Little bitty pretty one. Great song. Next is called Since I Don't Have You by the Skyliners. This is a very progressive pop song. Lots of changes in it. It's got that wall of orchestral sound backing vocal harmonies. This was before the Phil Spector wall of sound. This was the precursor to that. It's a very gentle, sentimental song, and I would describe it as the sound of reminiscing heartache. Great song. Next is another by the Everly Brothers, and my mother used to sing this one as well. Wake Up Little Susie. Great production as usual. Almost all the Everly Brothers tracks do have great production. This sounds way more contemporary than a lot of the songs out of the 50s due to that production. It's very happy and lively. It gives you a boost of energy. It's just a groovy, feel-good song. Next is going to be a song called At My Front Door by the Eldorados. This is hop-bopping 50s playful early R&B at its finest, basically. This has sort of a swaggering street grit doo-wop feel to it. And again, great for dancing, party song. A little strange, I like it. And then we move on to the next one called The Naughty Lady of Shady Lane by the Ames Brothers. This one's a sort of a darkly humorous gossip track, talking about what's going on in the neighborhood. A lot of gossip going on in the 50s and 60s and stuff like that. This one kind of sounds like it belongs in the early 60s, almost like you would hear it on a Gilligan's Island show or movie, or something that's very retro novelty. Next is a song called We Belong Together by Robert and Johnny. This again was one of the ones featured off of the John Carpenter film Christine. This is, and the next one will also be. A lot of songs on here are featured on that soundtrack because it's just a great soundtrack from the 1950s. But anyways, We Belong Together is a tender, floating sort of ballad. Has a sort of a yearning sentimentality. Kind of makes me think of a warm summer night under the stars with your love. Next is Keep a Knockin', Little Richard. This is a brash, raucous rock and roll pioneering track. It's full of fun, full of grit. It's a downright boost of energy and excitement. It's a you keep a knocking but you can't come in. You keep a knocking but you can't come in. Great song. Next is a very popular country western song in the 1950s called El Paso by Marty Robbins. Love Marty Robbins. You know, there were several tracks I probably could have listed here, but this was the one that I chose. It's probably his most famous, but it's just such a great song. I mean, it's like a earthy cowboy love song, and it's really the standard bearer of that sort of song from the 1950s as far as I'm concerned. Just a graceful, melancholy sort of tale of love and loss. Next is I Put a Spell on You by Screamin' Jay Hawkins. Now, this guy was way ahead of his time. Very theatrical before Arthur. What's the guy's name? Arthur Brown. Fire! This was before him. Screamin' Jay Hawkins. I Put a Spell on You. It's been it's been done by, I think, CCR, a couple other people. But Screamin' Jay, this is the one you need to hear. 1950s. Very theatrical, as I said, R&B sort of horror hop classic song, and nothing beats the original Spell. Song of desperate love. Wonderful song. Spooky, fun, just a lot of different kinds of emotions. This one's kind of in the same vein. It's called She's My Witch by Kip Tyler. It's a very spooky, sort of gritty garage rock song. Probably sounds like it needs to be in the early 60s as well. Very darker undertone to Screamin' Jay's Spell. So those two could almost go together. Next is a very beautiful, sweeping, lush instrumental by Percy Faith called Theme from a Summer Place. This is one of the songs I can hear and immediately feel good. It's light, it's dreamy, seems like clouds are dispersing for a warm sun to come and just fill the day and, flow through. Wonderful, beautiful song. Next is also another instrumental. This is a very mellow, sort of hypnotic instrumental. Not as, bombastic and epic as Theme from a Summer Place. This is more low-key, but it captures me immediately. It's my favorite instrumental of the 1950s. It's called Sleepwalk by Santo and Johnny. I just go into another world when I hear this song. No matter what my material situation is at the time, it is a very mesmerizing song. So 1950s, but almost early 60s as well, because it's sort of got that surf garage sort of sound to it, like the Ventures. I think the Ventures actually did this song later. But yeah, Sleepwalk, Santo and Johnny. Next is my favorite song by the Everly Brothers. My mother used to sing this song all the time when I was a kid. And it's called All I Have to Do Is Dream. What a remarkably just wonderful song this is. This is a timeless, dreamy love song. Very good production as usual. Easily one of my favorite songs of the 50s. Incredible harmonies. Just a wonderfully touching song. next, and this is my favorite song of the 1950s, and this is where we'll end the list. And it is "I Only Have Eyes for You" by the Flamingos. This is my favorite love song of all time. This is a haunting, romantic, dreamlike classic from the doo-wop era. The Flamingos are just, I mean, the way he sings the song, the vocal intonations, the way they come in, the distant feel of the shlop shlop, in the back, just that sort of, it's almost like a slow dance, beautiful love song, my favorite of all time. I Only Have Eyes for You, the Flamingos. And that wraps up my favorite songs in the 1950s. I would really like to hear what you guys, some of your songs from the 1950s, or what you think about my list. I will be updating another video pretty soon. It'll either be album review or it'll be something else, some other series that I had. But this one, I guess I'm going to add this to the Trans playlist type series, and I will attach the playlist, the Spotify playlist, to this video in the description. So you know what I'm going to say next. You guys, until next time, take care. Oh, like and subscribe and share and all that.